All right, so this video has more of discussion and not as much math, but it's over global wealth. So global wealth refers to the share of all assets minus debt of all households worldwide, and wealth share is the portion of the overall global wealth that one group or individual holds. So we're going to use the pie charts to have a conversation. So here's the global adult annual income. So it tells you, the different groups and the percentage of people in that group that's their annual income. So write the ratio of terms that would calculate each wedge of this income pie. Well, here's the basic idea. We would take all the people who have an income of under 10,000 and we would divide by the total. Right? So that's how we would get this one. If we want to define this, we would take the total of the 10,000 to 100,000 people, and we would divide by the total. So each one of these, you take the number of people in that category, and you divide by the total population, if you will. Now, the ratio that would, spelled would wrong, calculate each wedge of the global share of total wealth based on annual income. Okay, so for this one, it's about the wealth. So you take, hold on a second, let me look at this. We're taking the total wealth of that group. So now it's not so much the number of people in that, but it's the dollar amount. So when we're looking at people who earn $1 million or more, we're looking at how much money is that. So we're looking at the money total per group out of the total monies, right? So all of this, people who make over $1 million, you can imagine that's why it's so high, because that's a lot of money. Even if we have 14 times as many people under 10,000, it takes 100 people earning $10,000 to make one person making $1 million, right? So you just think this group has so much more money. That's why they have so much of a bigger part of the wealth-based share. The world population was estimated to be 7.5 billion in 2017. Therefore, how many people earned less than $10,000 annually? Okay, so under 10,000 is 70%. So 70% of 7.5 billion. If I multiply those together, I get 5.25 billion. Well, remember that billion means 9. So this is like 5.25 times 10 to the 9th. You could leave it like this, that's totally fine. Or we could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you've got yourself a standard form, 5,250,000,000 people earn less than $10,000 annually. What percent of wealth do these people earn less than 10? Why is this covered up? Okay, so what percent of the wealth do these people who earn less than 10,000 hold? I got to go back one because for some reason my screen's not showing up there. If we look back at this table, under 10,000 is here. So what percent? The 5.25 billion people only have 3% of the world's population. Even though, look at that, 5.25 billion is well over half. It's closer to 2/3, and it's actually more than 2/3, and they still only have 3% of the world's population. That's crazy. So describe why the relationship between the two graphs. Why is the $1 million plus wedge so small in graph 1 and so large in graph 2? And it comes down to there's not a ton of people. In the first one, it's about people. So in the first one, there's not a whole lot of people who have, more than $1 million. When you think about in terms of the 7.5 billion people, there's not a ton of them. However, they have so much money that when you go to graph 2, they make up almost half of the world wealth. So that, we call it the top 1%. I'm sure you've heard of that. The top 1% of people have half of the wealth of the entire world. So you're looking at just a crap ton of money being controlled by just a few people. And when I say a few, we're probably talking about, I don't know, tens of thousands, but not a ton. Not when you're talking about 5.25 billion people earning less than $10,000 a year. So it's just, it's crazy. It's a crazy combination.